Hey, how you doing? Are you ready to rock and to roll? Let's get this going. All right, puzzle rush time. Oops, let me see. Boom, boom. Sorry, I shouldn't do boom. But yay, mate. Let me see here. So there. Let me see here. So that wins queen. All right. Let me see. Oh yeah, check takes mate. That wins queen. Let me see here. This wins check, and then the wins there. Let me see here. If oh yeah, here, this, and then I win a queen. Okay, check. Turns it to a queen. Okay. Comes in. Grabs it, and I win a piece. I mean, a pawn. Alright, this wins material. Queen takes, and we win. Let me see here. Check. Wins the bishop. Okay, dokie. Okay, check. That wins the queen. Let me see here. Okay, check. Let's see here. Oops, we win the bishop there. Okay, so hold on, check. Oh, this wins a queen. Yeah, and let me see if we take there. The queen takes, and there. Yep. Oh, whew, that hurts. Let's see here. Let me see. What do we got here? Queen takes. No. Check. And that wins a queen. Okay, dokie. That's mate. That's check. And checkmate. Let me see here. Check. That wins a queen. That wins a queen. Let's see here. Check, and that wins a bishop. And then a rook. So that wins the whole house. Let me see. So takes. Knight takes. Takes, push, back, up, and then he has to give way. If he gives way, we come in there and grab the pawn. Well, does that actually? Let me see. No, this wins a rook. Let's see. Takes. So he takes, and then bishop takes. That's right. Oh, so it's that takes then. Okay. Okay, I had the order messed up there. Okay, there. Okay. Let me see. Check. So it takes. Is it that? I'm not sure. I wasn't sure. Let me see here. I think I got the order messed up on one of them. Okay. There's a hanging piece here. I think it's that, and then there. I kind of missed that one. Was an order mess up too. Let me see here. See if I take here, that doesn't work because you could take there. So what I need to do is take here and then grab the knight. It was just an order mess up. Cause the reason is you're probably wondering, if I take here, my opponent can take there, and then I take here, and the queen takes, and equal material. But if I take here, attacking the queen, it's an intermezzo move where the queen has to take the bishop, then the knight comes in and grabs. Just a slight move order really makes a difference in your chess play. I was wondering if this might not be, yeah, and then nope. Oh, sorry, not that one. Then no. Oh, that traps the queen. Okay. All right. So this check there, and it traps the queen. Check, checkmate. Check, checkmate. Checkmate. Oops. Checkmate. Let me see. There. Oops. Why did I miss there? Okay. Let's see. Here. Up. Takes. And then, yeah. Okay, there. Let's see. Check. There. Ooh. Ouch. Huh. Let me see. Check. Check. Checkmate. Checkmate. Check. That wins. This wins a queen. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. That's a check, wins the bishop. See, that's checkmate. That's check, checkmate. Takes, so that's nothing. So takes, up. Ah. Takes in there. Takes, huh. I'm not sure. I was thinking that might be. Maybe I missed something. Sometimes I miss stuff, so you have to go over it and find out where you went awry. Just 1 second. Okay. Let's see. What did I overlook here? Just taking there. Interesting. Okay. Was it just moving? Oh, ow. I don't know why mate in 1, so this connection with the rook. Okay, so it's mate in 1, 7th rank, mate in 1. And then that traps the queen. Okay. Let's give it another shot. Boom. Sorry. Okay, dokie. Check. Mate. Let's see. Bishop takes. Check. Takes. Checkmate. Not checkmate. Grab the rook. I mean. Check. Grab the queen. So check. Check. Oops, the queen's in check, so block. Take the knight. Let's see. That's all. I couldn't find. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something. Check. Grab the queen. enter in between move. Bishop check. Turns into a queen. Let me see here. Had to make sure I didn't lose anything. So check, check, double check, mate. This sets up for an unstoppable mate. There's no way to stop it. Knight takes, bishop takes. Knight takes, bishop takes. Rook check, checkmate. Check, then takes and wins. Well, this wins. Check. Boy, this is a tough one. Let's see, check here. Let's see. Oh. Got a little slow there, a little laggy. Should have looked for a smother mate when you see material like that. So check, check. And then here. I don't know why I didn't see this. Forks, so. Let's try one last one, then we'll get busy. Mate. 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 And there we go. see, what am I missing here? Oh, here we go. Oh, silly me. It does work. Oops, that's not right. Checkmate. Check. Oops. I think it's queen here, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure. I wasn't sure about that one. And now we'll get on to our studies. Ah. Don't know why I didn't see that. That was mate. Let's give it another try. Mate 2. Okay, gotta remember to look for different checks there. So attack the queen and bring the rook into cover there. Okay, gotta remember that. It's called deflection, and decoy, mating net, skewer, and x-ray. So deflection was when you took here, this is the deflection. This is the, and it decoyed the pawn away. And you're also going to have to decoy the queen. So you have to deflect the queen, and then you actually mate. This is a skewer. So you actually win. Okay. Let's do it to it. And go on through it. Let's get something to drink, and then we'll get started. I'm going to go over a Magnus Carlsen game. It's going to be a little longer of a game. So you just got to hang in there with me, okay? It's going to be a little bit longer of one. So excuse me. Okay, so let me make sure I got this. Who's to move? Black's to move. I gotta make sure there's castling. I don't, just to make sure. But I doubt there needs to be any castling, but you never know. Magnus Carlsen game. There we go. The date's right, so now all we need is the city. And the player to be right. Oops, Magnus is white, so we have to look at it from white's perspective. Let me get a sip and then we'll get started. It's black to move though. Knight f3. Check. Exchanges rooks. It does not make this position equal, or better or worse. So if black had tried b5, then king g2, f5, or after a5, king g2, and then g6. the position would be balanced with a kind of deadlocked draw, but Magnus would try to work this position and maneuver to win against his opponent. King G2, rook takes, knight takes, of course, knight E2, king F1, and then H4. Oh, sorry about that. I knew there was a problem. I missed a move. Knight F here. And then H4. Carlsen avoids a repetition of the position. King E7, which is a mistake here. Better actually would have been to try to hold with A5. This is a exclam. Sorry about this. I need to enlarge the board. A5 though's better. Keeping the A pawn and giving some static position structure, but it would create an equal fortress like position. So king to E2, knight E5, knight E3, king E7, F4, knight takes, D2 or D7 is a mistake. Knight F5 check. Loses. Black can still transpose the knight instead of taking. To C6. C6. So 93. Bishop takes A6 here is an interesting move because once this could actually be very vital of a position, and if king takes, then you actually have knight to bishop to E2, and then when the knight has to retreat out, you can pick up another pawn. So you win materials galore. G5, G6. A5 was actually stronger again for the Magnus's opponent, but did not find that move. Now Magnus found bishop takes A6. Exclam. Now white has a small edge because the bishop has to defend B6. Knight takes D7, and of course we talked about king E2. Interesting. So he's doing king. Oh yeah, because the pawn went to H5 at that point. King E2, knight E5, and the knight could transpose into knight D4, king D3, D6, F4, C6, C6, bishop C4, B4 check, king D2, king e7, king c3. And white can press for a small edge. King f8. That's one way of king e8. That's one other way. And I think there's only two. So let's go down the f8 idea. b3. There's a b3. c6. Bishop d5. a7. King c4. White has winning chances. Bishop b5, check. King e7, f1, d6, and then c4. Black will be made to have a problem for a long time. He's going to be having a big time problem for a tremendous amount of time. His bishop is very passive, this bishop here. And so white actually wants to come in here and neutralize this bishop there. So f4, and knight g4. It is natural to look for an outpost of the opposite color of the bishop. So knight c6, b5, f5, king d3, bishop f6, knight d5, bishop d8, king d2, king d6, and king e3. It's hard to tell whether white wins, but the position is surely very unpleasant for black in this line. So bishop b5 check, king e7, knight d5 check, king d6, bishop c4, h6, knight h6, knight e3. That takes away this square. Bishop f6, bishop d3, and you're probably wondering why black can't play there, right? I'll show you in just a second. Bishop d8. You're like, why can't he play here? Well, puzzle rush idea. And after he moves there, see a bishop. So this is a double question mark blunder. d8, king f3, knight g4, f5 would probably have been a much better idea. Bishop bishop c4, king e7, and black faces, as the author says, a long grind. At the very least, maybe knight g4 here would help, because bishop f7 would not help, sorry, because of bishop f7 exclam. Sorry about that. So king e there, black faces along. Okay, perfect. And at this point, knight g4, Magnus plays knight takes, which is an exclam move, because normally one can hold an endgame when down a single pawn, but here the bishop has to defend the b pawn, and very passive, and black has little chance to get close to white's king pawns with his bishop at all. So takes, and then king takes. King e6, c4 check. It is useful to tie black's king down to the defense of the a pawn. King a7, king f3, king f5. Black has to stop the infiltration of black's king. Like if king f8, then king to e4, bishop e f6, king d5. White wins the b pawn, and his a pawn will be able to keep going up the board. So king e2, exclam. Magnus hurries to bring his king across to attack the b6 pawn. King f8, king d3, bishop f6, b3. Aggression generally pays off in opposite colored bishop endgames, but this time it would not work. Like if bishop after here, if bishop d5, bishop takes, king c4, bishop d5, d4 is an exclam move at this point. And black saves the b6 pawn. Bishop b2 is an interesting continuation. Oops, sorry, not interesting, dubious. He wants to make sure that his bishop can reach a5 if need be. Here, I think no, sorry. This right here. Right here, so that bishop d4 is actually a much better move for black. It tries to hold everything together. This would have been more testing for Magnus. The question is whether black can attack white's king pawn quickly. So bishop d5, bishop f2, king c4, and then at this point double it. Oh, I will give you an opportunity. You are black to move. Double exclam. Black to move. Double exclam. Black to move, double exclam. So can you find black to move, double exclam? I'll give you a second or two. To see if you can find it. It's black to move and it's a double exclam. Try another move. Give another move a try. Remember, this is a double exclam. It's not a natural move. This is a double exclam move. It's not natural. Still, that's I know it's fine, but remember, this is that's natural. That's a natural move. This is a double exclam. I'll give you one more time. You're close. You're close. You have the right piece. You got the right piece. Give it another shot. Double exclam. You have the right piece right now. Yep, you got it. King E7, double exclam. The king can win a tempo on the bishop and gain time to defend the B6 pawn. King B5. King D6. Bishop F7. King C7. Bishop takes G. G6. Bishop takes G3. H5. Bishop takes F. And then bishop takes F5. And one pass pawn would not be enough to win. So can you explain the idea of bishop king E7 is so that the king could come over and defend. When the king comes to B5, the king could come to D6, gaining a tempo on the bishop. When the bishop retreats like it did, then the king can guard D6, and even though the bishop's here, one pass pawn isn't key enough to allow white to win. Black could hold. So let me see here. King E8 doesn't work. I don't believe in time. Let me see. Sorry. So E8. Nope. See, you lose a pawn. King E8 doesn't work. You lose now. What'll happen is the bishop will be able to come over here, and if the bishop starts gobbling, then you can gobble that, and even if it gobbles here, you just start running the pawn up the board, and if there's a check, you can actually just come down here, and these two pawns should be able to, and this bishop should be able to cover F3, and these two passers should be enough to overwhelm black. So should have enough material to overwhelm black. So B4 this is an idea that could be played here. It's an interesting move, more testing. Bishop F2, A5, C takes B4, A6, b5. Bishop takes b5. Looks like a simple win, but this endgame is tricky because of b3. Because of this, he queens, he can queen. King c6, or c3. King e7. d3. King d6. H5. G takes. Bishop takes. Oh, got it. Bishop takes here. C7. Oops. C7. G4. H takes. Bishop takes. And white wins because of he has distractants, two of them. If the rook comes on, or knight comes over here, king comes over. Bishop would come there, and then if the bishop tried something like this to stop the pawn, you can just win the pawn and then come back via. And if the bishop tried here and then played there, you win the pawn. And so then you don't want to go in front, so you'd want to come around this way. Let's see here. B3. Where's B3? Alright, here we go. Instead of B3, King E7. Now C4, Bishop C4. This is a little bit longer. Tries to evade on the queen side. A7, Bishop A7. Bishop D5. F2. C4. D6. Gaining the tempo on the bishop. Bishop F7. C7. Takes. Takes. H5. B6. H6. Bishop takes. H7, and then Bishop E5, and this is an equal position, basically a draw. Instead of Bishop C4, there's King. King E2 is actually a stronger move here. It's an exclam. Yeah. And then Bishop H4. Bishop C4 here. Exclam again. Because you're actually passing the move here. Bishop B6. King E3. And now, if Bishop C5, G4, takes g4, king takes g4. I think white wins, but he has to play with more, you know, power attack too. King f6, b3, bishop b3. c2 is a mistake here. But the bishop attacks the g-pawn. This will not save the h-pawn though. If bishop a7, that would be a mistake here. King f3, bishop b6, king e2, a7, bishop b4, b3, king d3, b2, and then king to c3. What? Oh, got it, to cover this here. I gotcha. King g2, g7, king takes, king h6, bishop takes, g6, and white wins with 3 pawns against a bishop, because remember we learned that these 2 pawns can actually defend themselves. King g, okay, bishop, instead of bishop a7, a better move is actually king g7 right now, exclaim, because this is the one tempo that black needs to get here to stop all that problem. King f3, h5, oops, f3, nope, not h5, sorry. King h6, there we go, king e2, and then b3. Bishop takes g6. Trying to see. King takes g6. King d3. c5. King c4. King g6. Oops, hold on. Oops, sorry. Here takes there, there, and then queen. With an surprisingly an equal position. trying to figure out some of these lines. I'm trying to figure out where they begin. Let me see, E2, B3. Should taste G. Did we already do that line? I'm not sure where some of these lines are confusing, so I might move on just to the main line now. I can't. Some of them have like brackets, and then they continue down here, and I can't trace them. Some of the brackets are brackets within brackets, and it's like, I can't find that. Bishop A3, King C4, Bishop B4, and King B5. The king fixes the bishop to defend the B pawn so it can't attack G3 anymore. Bishop A5, Bishop C4, B4 here could be played. C takes B, Bishop B3, King G7, King C6, King F6. This is kind of a cute little thing. You're trapping the bishop. King D5. This is really cute. B5. Exclam. This, surprisingly, this is funny. This is an exclam move. That was cute for a while. The bishop was trapped. C takes. Bishop E6. King C6. Bishop F2. B6. Bishop takes G3 is equal position here. E7, King E7, King C6, King F6. And then now this is white to move. White to move. Now Magnus gets to drop at a double exclam. This has actually happened in the game, so this is part of the game. And Magnus did a double exclam move here. So it's up to you to find the double exclam. Can you solve it? White to move, double exclam. Try it. Try it one more time. Try a different move. White to move. B5. Try another move. This one looks like it doesn't work. It's a double exclam idea though. What you're doing is you want to set up for something to happen. something to happen. You want to set up, it looks like it doesn't work, but it actually does. That's an interesting move, but there, I'll give you one more try, and then we will continue on. Then I'll show it to you. Give you one more shot. See what you have. King d5. That was a good effort. It's actually bishop d3. Bishop d3. Double exclam. It was a brilliant move. This move in itself, this is in itself nothing special, but the concept of setting up a Zook swamp, because you have to remember, you have to remember that it looks like a null move, but can the bishop move? No. Can the king move? No. So whoever, though these two pieces can't move here. The bishop on a5 can't move, and the king on f6 can't move. So you're anything that moves loses. Magnus, they said, I think Magnus spotted this 12 moves in advance when he took on g4. King f7. Yeah. And if black tries king e6, then g4 exclam. g4 exclam, f takes g, and then bishop takes king f6, bishop e4, then there's I think there's two lines. There's king e6, and then there's king g7. So we'll do king e6 first. h5, f6, h6, g3, f5, king f7, h7, king g7, f6, and this actually wins because he can't stop this or this. Now you get to see the power. You get to see the power of these two pawns protecting each other, especially with a bishop, of course, helping. But I mean, these two pawns are just tremendous warriors. Now we see the power of endgame studies of Jeremy Silman, that if you would like to go over, they're on, you just type in business law and you can go to the studies and go over the Jeremy Silman moves and stuff, and then if you like it, you can give it a heart if you like. If not, you can enjoy it. Either one works. Bishop f5. Yep. Bishop, yep. Yes. And then g3. Bishop e7. I mean a7, e4. I don't know where I got bishop e7 from. King f6. h5. Now these two pawns do protect themselves. King g7. Bishop f5, king g8, and then b5, king b5, king g7, bishop d5. This is to pass a move. This is to waste time. And king f6, h6. And there's no way for black to see. This covers here, covers here, covers here. So black has to take, and by taking, the pawn goes. It's all over. King f7 was played, and Magnus played h5 and exclam. This softens up the king side. See, what you're wanting to do is soften up this pawn chain. And he actually softened up it. He softened it by, and then played bishop takes f5, and now he's got a pass pawn, and pretty soon this pawn's gonna be taken, and it's sadness galore. It is not very good for black in this situation, because Magnus can actually send the bishop around this way and make the king have to guard the pawn on h. Or he could go this way. You can go either way. You can either go this way. I think probably this way is best, because now that I think about it, if you played here, the king could actually stop that. So he did choose the right way. This is the best, because now you're attacking it via f3. So that is beautiful. King g7, bishop f3, king h6, and then b5 exclam. Because remember, you're wanting one thing: waste time. You're wanting sometimes just to plain old waste a move. A tempo is what you need. King g6. Magnus tasked to reach this position with black to move. He has 3 available squares, so it's not easy. He could play. He played king d1. There's 3 squares that Magnus can actually go to. He can go here, here, like back here. These are the squares he can go to with his bishop, or he can bring his king here. So he can go to either one of these just to pass the move. So he plays bishop d1, king h3 or h6, bishop e2, king g6, and bishop f3. Another Zugzwang, king h6, and then bishop to c6 here, with the idea of basically winning with the idea of bringing your king after exchanging this pawn off. You could king h6, and here he resigned. He lost a second pawn and can't stop Magnus, can't stop white after Magnus won the pawn. He tried, but he wasn't able to. So like if he tries something like this, the game actually ended here, Magnus won. So I'll just put this so that you know. Where is that? Black is winning. Is it black or white? Oh, sorry, white is winning. Yeah, king g, and then if bishop d8 or e8, sorry, you have this move here, king, and then you play bishop f6. And now he's in Zugzwang, and he can't. If he moves his bishop, the king grabs the pawn. If he moves his king, the bishop grabs the pawn. So it'd be something like this. There goes that. Now 2 pawns with a bishop. It's over. If bishop moves here, king grabs there. It's going to have to give up the bishop for this pawn. So either way, it's over. Okay, we're going to go on now into our French defense. So that was a wonderful, wonderful played game. Let me see this. Is there any comments? So yeah, Magnus set up a Zook Swamp. I think he visualized many moves in advance. In the end, that's what the author says, and he won. I think we already talked about this. A second pawn via this setup here. It doesn't have a show in the book. I just worked it out so you can see. So you're actually getting a little bit, yeah. Well, we study on the channel. I usually don't play because you need to study. That's what over the board and playing others. This is for we're studying here. So you're more than welcome to participate and learn. Uh-oh, what? Oops. Oh, it's over here. Okay, good. So yeah, I appreciate that you want to, but learning is vital. Playing is good, but you need to put work and play together as well. And if you think about it, playing over a Grandmaster games is actually like playing a game, but it's a solitaire game. You're playing the game, and you get to experience what they felt. You get to see what they went through, the pain, the agony, the success, the failure, learning, and getting better. Oh, then that would be really good. Then congratulations on that. And I mean that positively too. That's not an easy title to acquire. So that's wonderful. Okay, we're going over the French defense. This is actually Garry Kasparov versus the author. So the author actually got to play Garry Kasparov. That would be something to have actually played Garry. And this is, it was an internet blitz game that he played. So we've got to face him over the internet. It's a 5-minute blitz game. This is the exchange variation of the French. Gary's white and the author is black. So E4, E6, D4, D5, pawn takes, and then knight to F3 was played. This is one of the few exchange Frenches where white actually plays dynamic for a win here. The idea behind this move is twofold. White wants to isolate the c-pawn, make an isolated c-pawn, and two, black wants to commit his bishop to d6, then play then when white plays c4 to make an isolated pawn, play bishop to b4 check, and then if the bishop comes out and blocks the queen, we want to retreat our bishop back to e7. So like what he's saying is, this is the line that he was talking about here. c4, knight f6, knight c3, and bishop e7. This is one line that you can go down. So Grandmaster Simon Williams has a killer French, and he goes over the exchange variation. There's like 3 different setups that black can go for. And there's 3 different setups that white can go for, and he explains all of them in his killer French. In this vision, black's bishop is better posted on e7 here. Black's bishop is. So if bishop d3 here, you would take, because my teacher taught me that what you do is if the bishop moves, then you can take this pawn, because what it's based on is they've already wasted a tempo moving their bishop, and so they have to waste another tempo taking the pawn. And so bishop takes, because otherwise they'd lose a pawn, and that'd be silly. Black castles. Knight G E2, which is an kind of interesting setup. I like the setup. It's for white here. I think white's solid, but black does have an advantage. He's going to try to trade off material and go for D4. So knight BD7 after castles, of course, castles for black. So now it's a brawl. Who can go all out against the opponent? This is more positional. I mean, not if it was castle queenside, it'd be a, you know, basically who can go to the king first to get to the king first. But this is more positional. They're going to play for position. And white's going to try to play dynamic, because he's going to play around his space advantage of the pawn, guarding C5 and E5. If white can attack fast, develop, and get the initiative, they're going to be winning. But if white is too slow and lags behind, black's going to be able to gang up on D4 and win the pawn, and white's going to be in a world of hurt at that point. Okay, castles. Let me see here. Did I do that? There, bishop D6. Okay. Bishop B3. C6. This is to stop the pawn from advancing. Stop it in its tracks. Rook E1. Trying to get everything developed. Bishop F5. Black's developed. One more piece, knight G3, bishop G6, and then F4 is an interesting setup for black here. White. It's kind of a risky one, but we don't really mind. Bishop D7 or D6, exclaim, because if they push, if they push the pawn, then we can actually take the knight. When the pawn takes back, the bishop takes the pawn. So indirectly it stops F4 or F5 from being played. Queen D3. This now renews the threat of F5. So it's now renewed. Bishop D7. This stops the threat of F5. Because the queen guards F5 now. Rook F1, and now it renews F5, and then bishop F5 here can now be played because the queen's there, and this is an exclam move. Now white's pieces are off balance, and knight takes the bishop, queen takes, and then H3, H5, Harry H5, Queen F2 to hold on to the pawn. Now you're seeing how if white doesn't play active and plays passive, now you're gonna see that black's gonna take over the scene of everything. So now the rook's eyeing D4. Bishop C7, C2, bishop D7. Now it's double eyeing that. With one move, the bishop can retreat back, or come bishop B4, either one of those, and then this is under fire. Hold on, let me see, where am I at? Hold on. 7. Oh, 94. 94 is a dubious move. You don't want to do dubious. Knight takes, bishop takes, and rook Fe. Now we're attacking the bishop. All of our pieces are developed. White's in a world of hurt. This is not fun, not one bit at all. Bishop c2 has to retreat back, and then bishop c7, and it's all black, black galore. Rook d1 is forced to defend, and knight d5, which now this is under attack, and potentially we can bring more attack on that as well. Bishop f3, because I mean my bishop queen f3. The reason you're saying why can the queen move? The knight blocks the queen from attacking, so the queen's free to move temporarily. Knight f6. Now the queen has to go back to guard the pawn. A d8. What's that gonna do? Not a d8, sorry. Oops. I apologize. I think king h1 after here. King h1. Queen d5. And this is actually was from the author's game. White's position is riddled with weak squares e4, e3, e2, and d5. White's has a weak d4 isolated pawn, which may fall later. 3. White lags behind in development, and his queen side is wrecked. So it's not fun. Bishop d6. Black has a more accurate move. The author says knight f6 exclam. This is more in tune with the exchange, getting knights before bishops idea. And then c4, if c4 is played here, then bishop to e7. Remember, this is actually where we want to place it. You also have b4 check that could be played. Both are super to what the game continuation was. He said he avoided f6 in the line because bishop d3 and bishop d6, castle kingside, bishop g5, knight bd7, c6, oops, knight bd2, sorry, not c6, now c6, c3, and then rook g8, or e8, I don't know why I said g8, it's e8, and then e1, and this is actually from a game, so one sec, let me get a drink. Black could try, instead of the knight move, knight f6. There's one other continuation. Bishop g4 is an interesting move as well. Yep. Is it good? Yeah. It is good tea. For sure. h3, h5, and then queen e2, check, exclam, bishop e7, bishop e3 is an exclam move too as well. That's pretty impressive. Knight c6, knight c3, attacking the pawn, castle queenside, g4, bishop g6, and castle queenside for white, f6, a3, and bishop d7. queen d7, not bishop. Knight d2, f5, knight b3, shifting everything over. If you notice, everything's getting shifted to the queen side for an attack. f3. And black's position is acceptable, but still slightly inferior to white's position at this point. Let me see. Okay. This is the end of the exchange variation, so it's a little bit longer. So you're just gonna have to bear with me a little bit. We'll get through this. This was kind of the biggest annotation. C4. This variation falls between borders, just like the exchange French. White is not violating the principles of the exchange. He's trying to go for a dynamic position. But if an endgame were to hit, white would be the one that has the problem because of the isolated D pawn that's going to be coming pretty soon. And so black wants to not, we don't have to take, because if we take right now, what would happen is the bishop would take back. So first we develop a knight. And so yeah, c takes. This is a line that he was talking about. He's got a sub line that is a dubious move, because this actually helps your opponent. You don't want to help your opponent develop. And then the bishop jumps to c4. And there's e3, knight e3. If the knight comes out, our knight comes out, you could always retreat back. So this is more dynamic. You don't want to go down that line. So f6 is played. Knight c3, castles, and then c takes d5. Kasparov wanted to play for an isolated pawn position. Don't fear being down a pawn in such a situation. White isn't able to hang on to d5 forever. Playing the isolated pawn isn't obviously good all the time if you don't know how to do it. White can go for a tempo gain, potentially with after castles. c5 is a tempo gain, which is interesting. Move here for white. Bishop e7 and bishop d3 and b6. And at this point, c takes b6 and a takes b6 to hold your pawn chain together. h3, Harry h3, and then c5 to try to actually relieve the pressure because of taking, then taking. And you now have the hanging pawns, so you got to be okay with the hanging pawns. But Gary went down a different line here. So rook e1, check. Bishop e2, bd7, knight bd7. The idea is to gang up on this pawn with the knight. We're going to win it back. Castles, and then h6 to not allow a bishop or a knight to land in there. There's also bishop g5 right away, which h6, sorry about that. And bishop h4, a6 to not let the knight in to get our good door square bishop. Castles, b5 to stop the knight from coming into a4, a3, and bishop b7 to now take scope and then bring a knight in 3 times on the pawn. Rook e1. Now black can risk playing g5 here, which is an interesting move. Bishop g3, and then knight takes d5. And black regains the lost pawn with a sharp position. Of course, once again g5 has been played, black must take safety measures to protect the king. So you gotta always remember, a move in front of the king puts a lot of air in front of the king, and you don't want the king to have any too much room for pieces to move in and basically kill our king. c4, bishop c4, which is interesting. Gary wants to hold on to it as long as he can. Knight b6. He makes things very difficult. This allows knight b6 and bishop g4, which isn't easy for white to break the pin on f3. So bishop b3. b3, bishop g4, h3, bishop h5, bishop e3 here is a dubious move. This move loses the initiative. White should have just played for g4 here. Yeah, bishop g, and then knight to e5. Exclam at this point. Offering black to accept bishop takes e5, pawn takes e5, rook takes e5. This is actually an interesting move continuation, because what you're doing is you're surrendering your good bishop for an active knight, which does have some compensation for that. f4 to attack, and rook to e7 here to potentially try to come after this pawn a third time or fourth time. f5, bishop h. Now white's bishop is entombed. Jeremy Silman talked about this. This is a sad bishop for right now. Bishop f4, and now see black's basically playing a piece down at the present moment. Rook d7 to go after this pawn. d6 is an exclam move because we're not fearing the pawn takes, because it actually doesn't hurt us. Now we're the ones stuck with the isolated pawn. Even though we're up a pawn, our bishop's out of play, so we really don't have, we're one piece out of play. Queen d4, and white gets more than enough compensation for the pawn with the bishop aggressive, the piece placement, and a dangerous king space advantage. Ooh yeah, I would play this any day. Queen d7 is an exclam move here. Intending to go knight to go to queen f3, and basically shattering the king side's position to pieces. a4, which is interesting. Risky since it accepts that b4 is now a hole for the knight to go to. Potentially the knight could actually reroute in here, reroute into b8. That's the idea that you have to watch out for. Alright, a5. There's also this route too now. Rook c1 and queen f5. Just go with your plan. Go with your plan. If your opponent has an Isolani, when a queen swap is generally favorable. So if they have Isolanis, which are isolated pawns in the center, queen swapping is actually really a pleasant idea. Rook f7 isn't. We can actually double up rook e1, rook a1. You do dominate the e file, but trading off's much better. If you're thinking g4, this is actually a double question mark losing move as well, because what you can actually do is play knight takes. Ooh, bishop takes. Interesting. Bishop takes, huh? H takes, g takes, check. I always thought that knight takes might be a better idea here than after pawn. Oops, not pawn h. After takes, queen takes here, check. You drop a knight. After king here, whoa. After there, you actually drop a knight. What was actually played was bishop to bishop c2. So this was actually what was played, so I gotta promote it. If g4, they're saying that bishop takes, we'll just do this line here. Pawn takes, queen takes, check. King h1, h3. King g1, knight g4, e2, queen e2, bishop h. Oh, I see. It sets up for a pattern, a mini pattern. Okay. King f1, bishop f4, check. King g1, rook takes, e3, exclam. F takes, then bishop takes, and this forces the queen to have to take here. Then the knight takes, and you win the position. So queen takes f3. Takes, f takes, d1, and then knight takes oops, wrong knight takes. And beautiful, maybe in the eye of the beholder, he says. And the white's position rather homely, which not fun basically. Black regains the lost pawn. Black has struck at the isolated pawns, and white now probably wishes he hadn't have played a4. For the bishop pair gives white an advantage. In conclusion, black stands slightly better in the endgame, and white's endgame requires lengthy consideration and still needs to have full compensation for the wrecked pawn structure that he's playing with right now. King or bishop d2, c6, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, king f1, king e7. Worth the thought of playing bishop f4. It's worth considering bishop f4 when it eliminates one pair of the bishops. And now the bishop pair isn't so dynamic now because it's just a light squared bishop. But that wasn't played. g3. Halting bishop f4. b4. Though we're coming at it another way. So I looked to swap from the other angle. Bishop takes here was actually a dubious move by white. Bishop c3 would have actually been more would have been better, because what would have happened is if the knight or the bishop would have taken, it doesn't matter if like knight takes, then that would come down and bishop's of opposite color draw. If bishop takes, then pawn takes, reconnects the pawns, holdable. The position's holdable at this point. But not taking, no. Knight takes. Now black gets a wonderful outpost. Bishop g4. Rook d8 to now take scope. Remember, unless you can play dynamic in the middle game, this isolated pawn in the end game becomes a serious thorn in white's side. c5. Rook c5. Exclam. Great move by Gary on this one, as it gets an exclam. Oops. So that's a good move there. b3, provoking b3, bishop c, rook c3, and rook d6. Bishop, rook e3, king f8, rook d2, rook d, de1 is met by knight to d5, and that more exchanges would arise after that. Critical decision here. Is c5 a good move for black here? Is c5 a good move for black here? This is a critical decision. Do you think pawn c5 is a good move here? What's your, as I like to say, because I like tea, what's your cup of tea on this one? Are you sure? Okay. C5, surprisingly, I probably would have went with it. But surprisingly, it's considered a mistake because it allows for the exchange here, here, and then rook e2. Yeah, and the whole idea is that the bishop cuts off the king. He cuts off the king here. King f6 is kind of the only active move. D takes, B takes, and now we are the one with the isolated pawns as well. And black and white's the one with the good pawns now. And that is sad. We actually lost our initiative. I'm thinking that potentially better might have been knight to, this is just my idea, knight here might have been a better idea, knight d5. And then if rook takes and here, then f6, and his white's pawns are still wrecked. But it would have been so tempting to have gone for c5, so I don't blame you for going with that. Now rook e3, and then c4 is a dubious move here. The author was really upset at this position, and sometimes when you are upset, you play out, your opponent could play you out of position. And Gary had a tendency to be able to just play his opponents out of position. Somehow he just had that flair of an attack. Knight d3, which is again is a dubious move. And then b3. Exclam, undermining the protection of the knight. E5, B takes C, and rook to C6. Rook e4, rook c5, rook d4, king e7 to cover the in routes. H4, knight d7, which is an exclam. The author regained his basically clarity, and he realized that b6 is a really good square to get the knight to. That would win a piece, a pawn, which then would equalize everything, and the author then would have a chance of a draw. E4 check, king d6, f4 to attack the pawn. Not the best. Bishop d1 is actually the best move for Gary here. d4 provokes f6, and then h5, fixing the g pawn, the g7 pawn. Bishop e6, bishop rook g4, rook g5, rook d4, king c5 here. So now the author's getting momentum again. Rook d8, knight takes a4. At last I regained the lost pawn and now a passed a pawn. f4. Exclaim. Rook d5 check. I believe this is perpetual. Exclaim. What they're saying, he's saying that if you don't take, but you play rook f5 here, bishop g4, and you lose a bishop. So this is a double question mark. It's the only this move's the only move that, and then I believe this is perpetual, if I'm not mistaken. Close to, maybe. King b4, b6, b5, king a6, king f2, h3, rook h3, and bishop g4, with the idea of trying to win the pawn back. g4 exclaim. Rook d3, bishop c8 check, king a7, rook takes a5 check. The game should end in a draw at this point. b5 check, exclaim. Says he felt like he was losing ground every move. King c3, king f2, rook h3, takes a5, h2, check, king f3, knight b6, c5, knight d5, c6, king d4, rook a7, rook h3, exclaim. The author is able to save himself, so wow. f2, rook c3, rook takes g7, rook takes c6. Probably breathing a sigh of relief now. Bishop f3, rook c2 check, king g3, and rook c3, pinning the bishop. E3 is actually surprisingly what they're saying. Knight e3 is wait, how could that be? How could knight e3 be more accurate? Hold on. Oh, wait a second. Okay, oh right, knight e3 right here is a more accurate move because you're trying to get your knight into f5 there. Rook d7, can you see a tactic here? Can you see a tactic? Black to move, black to move, black to move, to move, exclaim. I'll give you one chance to do it and then we'll move on because we have a little bit more we gotta go over. Give it one shot. King to, actually surprisingly, King C4 is the only move that wins. King C4. He played Rook C5, which is actually a losing move. This is losing. Black is sadly plays Rook C5, and it's all over. He's saying that this is actually the move that was played. And so if C4, which is actually an exclam move here, I'll show you the continuation really quick, because he has it. Rook H7, 93, exclam, because you could, of course, you know why. If so, King F2. You know that if Rook takes, it loses a piece and it's game, set, and match, so he's not going to take. Knight F5, E4, E3, C7, King D4, King takes C3, oops. Rook D1, exclam, only move to save the knight. King F3, knight takes, bishop G6, knight D5, King G4, and knight to E3 check, draw. King G4, Rook D5, King E3, Rook takes, Rook C8, Bishop D1, Rook F8, King F5, Rook F7, D6, King F2, Rook takes F6, Rook D7, Rook takes H, takes D, Rook G6, and then D5, and black resigned here. Black won, actually, I'm sorry. Black won here. He won on time at this point. Remember, it was a 5-minute game. He actually won on time. Let me quickly, I think, did we already do this? Hold on. There's one point back here I wanted to show you. I wanted to get through and show you the other game. King C4. Rook D5. Rook takes D5. rook takes d5, bishop takes d5, check, king takes, and then king f5, and white wins the king pawn ending at this point. So okay, we just finished. Now we're into other lines, chapter 7. I'll do a quick 6 puzzles and then gotta log. Let's do it to it. Let's do it. Let's do, how many bishops? 2. Oops. Yikes. Oh, snap. I gotta do it over again. So I'm gonna do black first so that I don't make any more mistakes on this. Two bishops for white. Rook, rook. Let me see if I'm forgetting anything. Nope, 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 nope. Still good. Everything's Operation Go. Alright. It's all you. There you go. Good job. 1 down. Oops. 1 down. 5 to go. Let's see if we can get them all right here. Two rooks. Two knights. One king. And we're off. Alrighty. Let's see what you got. This one's going to be a little tricky. I'll see if you can find this one. I spotted it with my eyes, so with my naked eye, so I think you'll be able to spot this one. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Double checkmate. You gotta love it. There, your queen can't go to d7. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, queen. Yeah. Yep, that's mate. You got it. You got it. You found the other mate. Good job. Good work. Good work. Do you see the mate? It involves a piece that's out of play right now. What piece is out of play? What's the piece for white that's out of play? Okay. Rook takes. If bishop takes, queen takes h. There you go. If after takes g6, then queen takes g6 mate, because the pawn is pinned to the king. So this was a beautiful mate. Bye. Be blessed. Wasn't that a beautiful mate? The Lord Jesus be with you. Bye-bye. Okay. Mate 2. Rook takes, of course, is simple. Pawn takes, and then takes is mate. Alright, 2 more. So queen takes, rook takes, and then that's checkmate. Yep. Alrighty, on to one last one. Okay, this is the last one. Alright. Give you a second to look at it, and then we'll solve it. Okay. Alrighty. Rook check. King takes. And then queen to b8. I know you were thinking about queen d. Nope. Knight takes. The only one is here because the pawn, the pawn covers here, queen covers there, there, the bishop covers there, and the queen covers that. So it's mate. Alright. I will say adieu. If there's no questions, I'll give you a second to see if there's a questions. If you have any questions, 1 second. Let's see. I'll give you until 9:35. That'll give you a little bit of time. Actually, I'll give you till 9:30 and 50 seconds. Right about. Okay. There's no question. Alrighty. Want to thank you for logging on. Congrats on sticking with me. It was a little bit longer tonight, I know, a lot longer, but we hung in there. We did good. We're improving. We're getting better, and we're honoring the Lord Jesus with our talents because He loves you and He loves me, and you always should receive Him as Lord and Savior always. But what you have to remember is this: to when you're doing chess, like what we learned in our French defense, make sure your moves are backed by thought. Don't do it out of fear or out of protection. Make sure that your moves actually do what you want. Look further in the future and don't get nervous. That's one thing I want to give you some advice. If you're going to play over the board, don't get nervous. Because nerves just will cloud your vision, and that's why what we said, you become what you think about. So if you think nervous thoughts, get nervous, get worried that, oh no, I'm going to lose and all this stuff, then it's not good. It's just you're nervous at that point. It affects your thinking, and somebody who may not be as prepared as you are will win because they're more relaxed and they can actually think creative. And so that's what we have to remember, is that, like what Grandmaster Yasser Sarah once said, every long journey begins with one small step. And you know what? The step of faith is a small step. The belief is a small step. And trusting is a small step in the right direction. And if you put all those together, and you put those together and have asked the Lord to direct you and be your Savior always, then you know what? You're on your journey to having the Holy Spirit help you. And the Holy Spirit says that it's spoken that He will teach us all things if we're willing to listen and be patient and wait. And you know what? Waiting is the hardest thing to do in a lot of different things, but David did it, Solomon did it, Abraham did it, Jacob did it for sure. And the one that I always think of the most, my friends, there's two. Joseph waited for 20 years in prison till he was made vice pharaoh. 20 years. And Job lost everything, his family, everything. And he still trusted in the Lord Jesus. And you know what? So if those real people, those were real people too. If those real people could have that faith, me and you too can. And I wanted to leave you with that because I just felt like it on my heart to talk to you about that just for a second. I know it's a little bit off topic on chess, but you know what? Faith is very important in chess, though, because you have to have faith in your pieces. That your pieces will be there for you when you need them. So, you know what? Faith is in chess. And I'll leave you with that. What do chess crunchers always do? When we hang up our coats, we hang up our hats, we sit down and study when most won't. A chess cruncher does, and that makes all the difference. And as Wesley So says for Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless, and I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, evening, and Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. We'll keep pushing forward, and we're almost done with the first steps of the French. We're almost done with that book. And then I'll have to get another one that we'll work on and improve and absorb and learn. To remember what Hannibal Smith said, I almost forgot. Hannibal Smith said, forcing moves in chess is the backbone. If you can force your opponent to go down the path you want, there's only two results: a win or a draw. And if you lose, remember what Tom Thumb Thumb said: treasure your victories, learn from your losses, and remember that mistakes do not define you, my friends. It's how you handle the mistake that defines you. Hoorah, be blessed, 2 thumbs up. Keep studying chess, honoring the Lord Jesus, and always remember, have fun the Chess Cruncher way. Be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.